Recently, I needed a circuit that makes a sound like this. Scientifically speaking, it responds to a drop in the input signal, also known as a negative edge, and outputs a brief audio signal of a fixed duration. Try to guess what I need this for, and I'll tell you a bit later. Of course, you could spend a couple of bucks and build this using a microcontroller, assuming you know how to write code and flash a chip. But I wanted to build it completely computer-free, using just transistors or discrete logic gates. At first, I planned to build the circuit entirely out of discrete transistors. But in my last video, I showed you what kind of cool stuff you can salvage from old electronic junk. And among the junk was a board from an old CRT computer monitor. I took a closer look at that board and found this exact chip. The HEF4538B integrated circuit consists of two identical blocks, each known as a monostable multivibrator. In that monitor, it most likely generated vertical or horizontal sync pulse sequences. The core of my problem is that I need to catch the exact moment a voltage drops from a high level to a low level. Then the output needs to trigger a fixed length pulse, which will create that exact blinking or beeping sound. A monostable multivibrator does exactly that. It generates that precise pulse. Just what the doctor ordered. Each of these modules has two inputs. One responds to a positive edge, and the other to a negative edge. Both of them set an internal flip-flop, which automatically resets itself after a certain period of time. You can also reset the flip-flop manually via dedicated reset input. Additionally, each module features two outputs, a direct and an inverted output. So it's a pretty versatile block for just about any scenario. The time it takes for the flip-flop to reset depends on the resistance and capacitance of the resistor and capacitor connected to these dedicated pins. The audio pulse duration I need is roughly between 100 and 200 milliseconds. The datasheet provides a formula to calculate the reset time, but it doesn't specify the units of measurement. Let's try to figure it out experimentally. I'll desolder the chip from the board and pop it into an adapter. I've connected different colored LEDs to both the direct and inverted outputs, so we can visually track the state of the flip-flop. Alright, I've got both halves of the chip fired up. Each pair of outputs go to this own set of LEDs, and the inputs are controlled by just two buttons. Each button sends a signal to both halves simultaneously. However, their RC circuits are different. The capacitance over here is 5 times higher than the over here. But the resistance for both is the same, 100 kilo ohms. By the way, I figured out the units of measurement. Turns out I just completely missed it. They are listed here in the examples, but they're actually messed up too, right here. The circuit runs on 3.3 volts. When powered on, it immediately fires a pulse. On a side note, this chip was picking up every bit of interference in the universe, from my finger, the multimeter, the weather on Mars, you name it, until I tied the ground to the negative power rail. After that, everything started working perfectly smoothly. So, the left input on the schematic is pulled down to ground through a resistor, and pressing the button connects it to the positive rail. Meaning when pressed, we get a positive signal edge. The right button does the opposite. Pressing it creates a negative signal edge. Both actions trigger the flip-flop in exactly the same way. The top half delivers a longer pulse duration because of the larger capacitor. The pulse duration stays exactly the same, no matter how long you hold the button down. This is true whether we release the button before the output pulse finished or we hold it down for a long time. I connected the LEDs directly to the chip's outputs through resistors. The current draw for the LEDs here is only a few milliamps, which is well within the chip specs. However, we still can't get away without transistors. For the audio signal, I'll be using this module right here. It puts out a very loud sound at a frequency slightly over 2 kHz, when supplied with a DC voltage anywhere from 3 to 7 volts. The maximum output current of this chip is only 10 mA, but this buzzer draws 15 mA. That's why I added a simple transistor switch. It will provide enough current to drive this speaker. Alright, the buzzer is working, and for what I actually needed it for, I'll show you in very next video. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll be looking out for your guesses in the comment below. It's going to be a fun one. See you next time, and may your ideas come to life.